Start your day.
The judiciary in a good way. Well, maybe. We'll see. It depends on how one Honorable Paul Demo woke up this morning. It all depends on that. The Honorable Paul Demo is the Deputy Chief Registrar and spokesperson of the Judiciary and joins us in the hot seat this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Good to
and
see
it's
you.
good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, good to see you this year.
Thank you.
Of course, very many matters arising. One of the big ones is the Judiciary Dialogue Day, Justice and Public Engagement in Kenya, what it actually looks like. We'll get into that proper in a while.
All right.
But Dennis wants you to practice a little bit of what you do every day anyway.
Interpretation.
Right.
Of the law, I must say.
Of the law, which is very clear.
I hope yours is close to
The
the law.
ancestral laws. Yes.
It might even be clearer than the
Clearer
law.
than the law. Eh?
All right, let me hope so.
Yeah, so
All
today
right,
we're in
Dennis.
Benin, a
Benin.
beautiful country of around 13 million people.
Yes.
So they are huge in agriculture, but majorly they grow cotton. They are the largest producers of cotton in the continent as we speak today. But if you go back in the 17th, 19th century, they had a military wing that was predominantly women that was in charge of taking care of what? Of the leadership at the time. So when you talk about 2/3 gender rule, if we want to benchmark, we know where to go and just to read history. Kidogo tu. But let's go to the interpretation.
Okay.
The chameleon changes color, but it does not change its destination. How would you interpret it?
The chameleon changes color, but not its destination.
Yes.
Okay. That's very interesting. So it is focused on where it is going. And it doesn't really care what happens as it moves to its final destination. So whatever happens along the way here is immaterial. So it's just focusing on, this is what I want to get. It doesn't matter who I become, how I sell my values. Whatever happens doesn't really matter. I'm just focused on getting to where I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good interpretation.
Very good. We're having conversation this morning about the judiciary, an open day of dialogue for members of the public, for Kenyans, to then understand what the judiciary does, how it can actually help them around their issues, and what you can actually project for the future in terms of how the judiciary conducts itself.
Yes.
One would say that of the three stepsisters of government, okay, in a more constitutional term, we say arms of government, that this would be the way in which your other siblings would also operate. But we'll not give that judgment just yet. Let's hear from you in terms of what that looks like. So when we talk about having dialogue with the judiciary, what exactly do you mean? For people to come, sit, understand how the judiciary works, or then to understand the reasons as to why things are done in the manner in which they are?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dew, for that question. Today I carried my constitution.
Okay.
Because I thought it's important to just contextualize the people of Kenya. And when you look at the first three words of the constitution, this is how they read. It says, we, the people. And it's very interesting when you read the constitution, when you look at where judicial authority is derived, it says judicial authority is derived from the people. When you look at the executive, it says the same thing. When you look at the legislature, it says the same thing. So essentially, the country governance, the authority that is there is derived from the people.
Okay.
We are the servants of the people.
Oh, I think you need to say that again. I don't think some people heard that.
So that really is the foundation of this conversation that we want to have with Kenyans.
Okay.
We want to come down, as it were, and listen to what Kenyans, first of all, have to say. Let them give us feedback on how our services are. We know we've done a lot of good things and we continue to do that. But we know there are areas for improvement. We know there are pain points.
Okay.
But we also want to discuss about our processes because we realize that a lot of times people do not quite understand how the court system works. We may take it for granted that people know what is happening, but this opportunity of the Dialogue Day gives a very good platform for people to come and hear. This is the court process. If you've got a criminal case, this is what happens. If you've got a civil case, this is what happens. If you have, you want to file a case, this is what happens. Is it possible for me to, do this matter out of court? Can we do this instead of coming to the mainstream court? Can I just meet with the person who has taken me to court and we discuss out of court? So an alternative way of resolving matters. So that is what we really want to explain to Kenyans, talk to them, and we'll be listening a lot. Most of the time, we're the ones who sit and give directions. But this time, we want to sit back and also hear from Kenyans, have this conversation so that we can understand. Because the court is Kenya's court. Yeah. It's for the people. That authority that is exercised on behalf of the people of Kenya. And we want to demystify. We really want to try and demystify the court process to people.
For a very long time, if anyone thought about court, there's always the aspect of, I've been arrested, I'm going to court. There's always an aspect of someone being on the wrong.
Yes.
So here's a question where now the judiciary is removing that stereotype of being a hangman. Men don't want to go to court because it is associated with just going to prison and jail.
Yes.
But here's a question where the judiciary, like you've stated, we are the servants of the people.
Yes.
That we derive our power from the people. And that cannot happen in isolation, that judiciary just sits at its corner and wananchi in their own corner and expect that at any given point, people will understand if they're not working together. And this then brings the conversation in terms of what the judiciary is doing intentionally, because the intention is there to change the narrative, the stereotype that has existed for a very long time, to ensure that Mwananchi would come to court and say, this is a place where I will get justice and I will be attended to. How critical is that connection to happen?
Yeah, it is very important, really, that Mwananchi gets to appreciate that this is, we like to call it in our legal term, this is the temple of justice. We'll be very happy when we get to that point where Mwananchi is very comfortable knowing that this is the place. And part of the reason why we have this dialogue is so that we can also just help people to understand. You see, if I may just give one example, one of the big issues that we grapple with as a country, and I know not just Kenya, many countries that have got, the sort of system that we have, is that it is what we call an adversarial system. So one party will win, the other one will lose.
Yes.
And that's just how it is. So for people need to understand that, so that when you come to court, it cannot be win-win for both of you. In that sense. And so when people get to understand that I am presenting myself before a judge or before a magistrate, this matter will be decided one way or another. So that then it is not that if I lose the case, it is because there was corruption or there was something else that judge looked at me badly. They didn't like me. The way I came to court. No, it is how the system is. One person will win, one person is going to lose. So as people get to appreciate this is how the system works, then you will more freely present yourself knowing these are the odds. And which is why one of the other things we've really been promoting is alternative justice systems, where people can go and just discuss the matter. And increasingly what we are doing, we are telling parties before the court, you have come here on a succession matter, you've come here on, some other, civil case. Can you go and discuss first? If you can mediate on this matter and agree, whatever you agree, then you come and the court will record that as a court order. Then, that is a very good win-win, because that changes it from the adversarial system where it is you versus me. But we are very keen to ensure that Mwananchi gets to the place where they feel that this is their place. So we have all these alternative justice system, the court annexed mediation programs, and just sensitizing Mwananchi to know this is your court. Come, file your matter here, and just making it as cordial as we can for Mwananchi.
How do you imagine or presuppose that you get citizens to not just believe, but that to get them to see the reality that this courtroom, just as an example, or this process of mediation or alternative dispute resolution is a channel actually for them? Because it's still the thought. I mean, we have not been to the Judiciary Dialogue Day, but
You're most welcome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You can see or you understand what people are thinking. And like you said, between the four walls of a court is the most dreaded place for people because they imagine, I'm going to get I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And they don't see it as a channel that is actually meant to serve them. That let's be the one to then be able to step in for you and sort out this issue. Or maybe you don't even need to be here. You know, who do they ask? How do you get people, because it would be mindset flip. How do you get people to start to realize that?
I mean,
because even before we started having these shows of having the judiciary here, the last person who would appear in a news studio or media studio is a judge of a court. And never. It didn't ever happen.
So I mean, we are here. That is where we start. We have come to where Mwananchi is. We have come to the airwaves. We are working as hard as possible to get down, just to try also and break that perception. Because as you rightly say, there has been that perception. But truth be told, actually, even lawyers are not comfortable coming to court. Even judges. If you are the one who is on the other, if you're the one who's on the dock, it's not very comfortable because now you are subject to these processes and all. But the reason why we have gone all out on the airwaves and getting to barazas and just talking to Mwananchi is so that we can show this is the legal process that we have. And it is for you. And we are going to make it as comfortable as possible. So just sensitizing people is a big way of just making sure that people start to appreciate that this really is for you. And then going out of our way to say, traditionally, until we got the new constitution, what I'm talking about, the alternative justice systems, like the court annex, the mediation, those things were not there. And it was very strict, You come to court, we follow what we know from our Commonwealth law. This is it. There's nothing else. And in fact, in the old constitution, we had clauses like things that are repugnant to morality and justice. And sometimes that was related to traditional methods of resolving disputes. But now we are saying, no. Under the constitution that we have, these are ways that have been provided. And as a judiciary, we are very actively promoting. And as we promote those mechanisms for dispute resolution, we are saying we have the mainstream, but we also have this, and all of them. The end game is that there's access to justice for all Kenyans.
And you see, when you talk about access, there is the aspect of e-filing that has been there, that has made it easier for individuals to just file matters in court. You don't have to come queue the whole day to go through the processes. And there is also the introduction of technology in the sense that we have virtual courts nowadays. Where if I have a matter in Nairobi, I'm at the coast. I can do it from the comfort of my house. And many have seen that and say, it is affordable for us. We finally see justice being dispensed. And it is one thing that many say, we see the change that we have been looking for a very long time, because we're also in 2026, 21st century. We can't keep operating as if we are in the 1960s. And even today, as we speak, the e-filing, even as court reporters, you walk in, you have your own media house within the court system where you're able to file your story. So it is an entire ecosystem that has changed, that has helped Mwananchi access justice.
That's true.
How has been the response from Mwananchi with regard to introduction of technology to ease access to justice?
I'm very happy to hear your feedback that this is appreciated, first of all, because getting compliments is not very easy.
Enjoy it.
Let me enjoy.
Give flowers when you're alive, man.
Yeah, thank you. But I can tell you that there is a lot of investment that has been made in terms of just ensuring that our digital automation, kicks off. And as you correctly said, we have got electronic filing across all our 145 courts in the entire republic, from Loitoktok to Marsabit, from Maralal, all the way to Lamu. And you can just tell just by the mere fact that there is that space available, that someone who was going to travel from, Mandera to come and have their matter heard in Nairobi does not have to do that. And so you find there is that sense of now you're able to get justice, faster where there's going to be a delay. And I'll give you an example of an initiative, again, based on technology, that we call Mahakama Popote. Now, Mahakama Popote means court everywhere. Literally. Yeah. And how we came up with that, we said, if you look at the volume of work that we have in courts like Milimani, Nairobi, that is like the hub. It's extremely busy. But then we have some other court stations that are in some far-flung areas that are not as busy, because the volume, the population is lower, and so it is not as busy. But those people also require to have judicial services. They need justice to get there. So you'll still have people on that side, but so that we do not hold too many matters in the concentrated areas. We then came up with this initiative where somebody who is in a place that is not so busy can be given work from Nairobi, and you hear the cases virtually. So they have filed their case in Nairobi. They log into their gadgets in Nairobi, and the judicial officer that is listening to that case is in a remote location. There is not the judicial officer that is in Milimani. And that way, you find a matter that would have taken so much longer to be reached, for example, in Milimani or in Mombasa, then there is greater speed on the adjudication of that particular matter. And last year alone, we were able to deal with 14,000 cases, just like that. So cases that would have taken so much longer, now are being dealt with like that. But maybe more specifically to your question, just about what Mwananchi is saying, if you look at the lawyers, for example, I think the lawyers are probably the happiest. Because as a lawyer, I can now sit and set myself up like this studio. I have got, 2 laptops, screens, 1 desktop, and I am in 3 courts. One will start at 9 to 10. Another one will be at 11 to 12. Another one will be maybe at 12:30 to 2. And all those courts are in different locations. So I may be seated in Nairobi, but I have a matter in Malindi at 9 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, I have another matter that is in Nakuru. And at 12:30, I have a matter that is in Thika. So you find you are able to manage more cases. You don't have to travel those distances. And that's not just you as the lawyer. That is also your clients. So clients don't have to do that travel. So I can be on screen as a lawyer here. My client is in their house. Tell them, we are going to court, but we'll be virtual. So you log in, I will also log in. So in terms of distance, travel, in terms of cutting down on costs, and just the sheer convenience, of not having that. So there is positive feedback, really, about the uptake of this, the automation within the judiciary. Yes.
If you were to look at it, usually when they say you come for a performance review before your supervisor, then already some of the things that you might be asked a question or two about. Where do you think the challenges have been met and are being met by, or being experienced by the judiciary that could be done better?
Some challenges that we're experiencing.
Inadequacies, whatever the case may be, falling short. What are some of those that you feel could actually be done better?
I think there are a number of things that certainly could work, and part of the reason why we really have this dialogue, and as I said, we really are open to just get to hear. We want Mwananchi to tell us, because sometimes you might think you're doing everything correct, but then someone comes and tells you you've got something at the back of your jacket here, So we want to hear from Mwananchi what we are doing. So one area we know that we can do better is in our engagement with Mwananchi. So that is where we are starting. And we started this last year. This was actually an initiative that the Chief Justice said, let's roll this thing out, because we need to hear what the public is saying. We need the public to tell us how are we performing. So this dialogue day was born also out of just the fact that we want to be able to communicate better. We want to bridge the gap between the knowledge of the court processes and where Mwananchi is, so that people can appreciate what the court exactly does. So that is one big area, just bridging that communication with Mwananchi, so that people can get to really appreciate where we're at. Some of the other challenges we know, and I think I've spoken to them when I appeared here before. A big issue is resource, and as I've mentioned, what we are trying to do around resource is maximizing on what we have. So, like that Mahakama Popote initiative is looking at. So you say you need so many magistrates, but we don't have those magistrates. Because of finances, because of resources, and because we don't have this number of magistrates and judges, cases are delaying more than they probably should. So what do? Make use of the numbers that you have. So use technology to be able to redistribute some cases to be able to do that. So the issue of resource is really a big deal. And it's something that we are trying to work around and deal with, but it's something that needs, very frankly, collective effort from all the relevant parties, the executive, the legislature, so that we are able to serve the public better. Last year alone, Kenyans filed 621,000 cases in the entire country. 621,000.
That's on top of the cases that were already ongoing.
Exactly. On top of ongoing cases. So now, 621,000 cases compared with 500, about 600 magistrates and kadis to handle those cases, and less than 200 judges. So we're talking about a complement of 800 people who are listening to 620,000 cases.
That's give or take about 80,000 cases per judge.
It is such a high number, and therefore the delays that are experienced, very regrettable. But when you take the average, is maybe about 800, 900 cases per judge per year.
Okay, so can I ask a twin question?
And a judicial officer about 1,200 cases per year.
Okay, so there's a twin question here. Is that yesterday the president appointed 15 judges of the Court of Appeal.
Yeah, actually they're being sworn in this morning.
They're being sworn in this morning,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So I know 15, especially after you've given us that statistic, is still a very low number. But is that a kind of a shot in the arm then for these processes that we talk about? And then, because of the fact that people who are court users, from those who get into the courts to those who are litigating, lawyers, prosecutors and such, do they take advantage of this to then delay cases even longer? Because, if I already know that you're dealing with 1,000 cases and you probably would welcome a delay in another one, then I'm going to take advantage of it. Do you deal with some of that monopoly?
Okay, so first of all, we are very happy that we have 15 additional judges of the Court of Appeal. So each of the courts, if I may just explain in a minute, each of the court structures has got their own numbers that are required as per law. So the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court has got its own fixed number, 7.
Yes.
The Court of Appeal has got an upper number of 70. Now that court has been operating with 27 for the longest while, 27, 28.
Less than half.
Yeah. And that is where we have such a huge challenge and backlog in the Court of Appeal. I mean, they have done super job. They roll out like 70 to 100 judgments every single week. But I mean, those numbers, so that has got 70. The High Court is required to have 200 judges. The High Court alone.
Yeah.
We have only 95. The Employment Court, that one is required to have, I think, about 70 or so. We have, I think it's 30, just about a half. The Environment Court is required to have 62. That court has got 51. The magistrates who listen to the bulk of the matters are required to be 1,200. We have got 559, and when you add the Qadis who are also judicial officers, it comes to around 600. Now, when you look at those numbers, frankly, you are dealing with less than half the complement of personnel that is supposed to be dealing with those cases.
With a demand of 100%.
With the demand, yes, with that demand.
Yeah.
So people are really working hard to try and meet, the deadlines that are there, the pressures that are there. But if we can just take the case of the 15 Court of Appeal judges, I can assure you that number, Kenyans are going to feel the dent almost immediately on those cases, because that is a good number, because that is, the Court of Appeal sits in threes. So that is 5 additional benches. People that will sit and start hearing matters. We have some appeals that have been pending for 4 years, 5 years, and you imagine you were convicted, maybe you've served sentence, you're supposed to serve 7-year sentence.
All these people who are telling us
3.
They're saying that we can continue operating subject to the completion of an appeal. Those people who normally tell us that these things can't happen because it's still in appeal.
Yeah, exactly. So there's an appeal that is pending, but it's not been reached simply because the numbers are overwhelming. So with these numbers, we should be able to see a big difference in the appeal matters. And the same thing would then happen. We are happy also that the High Court, there are interviews that are scheduled. We are going to have 20 new High Court judges. Interviews are scheduled in the month of February and March. So in the next short while, we should see some improvement. But considering the volume of cases that we have, and these numbers have been increasing, you really need personnel to be able to sit so that we can say the target that we have now, the target we have now for what we call backlog is a case that is less than 3 years. If you file your case today and I deal with it in less than 3 years, then we are doing well. But ultimately, that should really come down.
The matter of a case backlog in the judiciary is a problem. Is a big problem that has existed for years on end. And you look at what has been done. So alternative justice mechanism is there. The use of technology is just trying to ensure that all these initiatives is to help address that problem.
That's true.
But then again, you also find that there are some matters that are before court that ought to have been, that is easier and faster dispensed when you just take the other route of alternative justice mechanism. It does not have to end up before a judge, But that information is not there because Mwananchi is not aware. That those who just know, I have a problem, I go to court. So when we look at, whilst funding is a problem, we're struggling to get the numbers, that it's important for Mwananchi to know that not everything must come to court, that there's another route that you can take and you will still get the justice. Because these individuals who sit in these committees, in these panels, are equally judicial officers who can give you the justice that you are looking for.
And that's partly why we also are having this dialogue day, so that we can say, because it's about sensitization. Telling Mwananchi, you don't always have to go this way. We have got this alternative. But in addition, we are now have made it a practice in court, actually. There are some matters, in fact, in court where the judge will ask you, have you had a mediation on this matter? And if you've not, then what I was calling a court annexed mediation is like a court supervised mediation. The court will say, can you go and seek to mediate on this issue? We're even going to give you a mediator. Go and try and resolve this matter. Once you resolve it, you come. So the court is actively now asking parties go and deal with this matter. Some of them even recently started. The Chief Justice launched this in, I believe it was Isiolo, what we are calling private mediations, where people just on their own will go and discuss a matter, resolve it, and then come and record it in court. So the court will ask them, so you went and you had an issue, you resolved it, you agreed, all right, then let us record this as a court order. Okay. So the court is actively talking to parties before it about alternatives that exist so that they can deal with that. But I must be quick to add that it is not all matters.
Yes.
It's not all matters where parties will be allowed to go and mediate, discuss, and come and say, now we have agreed, matters to do with the children, for example, sexual offenses. You cannot have a mediation and then come and have that filed in court. Yes.
And you see, there is also reforms that are taking place. So one would look at in terms of accountability. So reforms within the courts, budgets and performances. And these are things that Kenyans, a taxpayer, just wants to know. Okay, fine. Yeah. You've been asking for X amount, right? You've received it. You've said you've invested the same on technology. Yeah. Can we see? Can we touch? We just want to be part and parcel of the entire journey. So that when we say that, when you hear the judiciary say we need more funding, it's because we understand where we're coming from. And it is through these conversations, because fine, you file your returns, you give that to the Auditor General, but that is technical information that Kenyan out there is like, hey, this is kizungu nyingi. But it is through such mechanisms that Kenyans get to appreciate where we are with the judiciary. And one would say, give flowers. I mean, say good job where it's due, because it is through that that Kenyans say, I went to the judiciary. E-filing happened. I attended court from my living room. My lawyer ensured that I got justice through annexed mediation that also happened online. So even as we move forward, just how bigger of a scale should we also invest in that from your perspective?
We're really happy to just to get this feedback that people really are appreciating what's happening, and we are very, very keen that Mwananchi has a say in what we do. So we have forums like what we call the budget hearings. Before we set the budget for the next year, we actually have forums where we go and talk to Mwananchi and tell them, now, this is what we had last year, this is what we are proposing for next year. Can you tell us? And this is what we did with this money that you gave us. Can you tell us? Where can we, what do you think is more important? And actually, out of those discussions, some of them you hear Mwananchi saying, we need more money to be given, for example, for pro bono fees, fees so that lawyers can represent those that are not able to pay for themselves. You find very good suggestions just coming across from very different, forums. So the budget hearings that we have really help us to touch base with Mwananchi and just to be able to hear and to account to the public. Not to mention, we have got a requirement by law to prepare an annual report, what we call a State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report. It is actually a legal requirement where we must prepare the report and indicate how did you perform, what are the programs that you are doing, who are your stakeholders that you're working with, what are the challenges you've experienced, where did these resources that we gave go to. That's an annual thing, and it is presented by the Chief Justice every year. So those are mechanisms that are available, and in those mechanisms you also get to hear now, like what you asked, where people are saying we need to invest more in this. So we need, for example, still in our digitization program, you have people saying we have seen you have got a lot of equipment, but we still have many officers, for example, in court, like court assistants. Not everybody has a laptop. Sure. Because that would be a huge capital undertaking for us. And they say, if we had more laptops, then this would work better. In fact, someone was just telling me yesterday that there's a court where they went to, and there was the court assist. It was virtual. Happy it was virtual. But then there was this court assistant who had a laptop, doing the matter, with the judicial officer who was on another, in another location, but there was a crowd behind the court assistant. Such a huge crowd, and you're like, we wish there were more laptops or big screens.
Yeah, projected.
Projected, so that somebody can be able to see, and you can sit in a space in a courtroom or wherever, 20, 30 of you, and you can then see how the matters are progressing without all of you trying to squeeze.
Yeah.
Just behind one screen. So the capital outlay, like for digitization, we've invested a lot, but we still need huge investment so that people can feel this is comfortable. We are able to, interact easily with the judicial officer. You can participate properly.
Okay, and then of course that gives rise to the conversation around, the still very manual processes that are being carried out. Judges, magistrates are still having to write out their judgments, literally write hundreds, thousands of words with pen and paper.
That's true.
Is there a conversation around how that could change?
Yes. Thankfully, that is something that it's a pain point for us, honestly. And you feel, first of all, we feel it from Mwananchi because it's taking long. I mean, you'll come and you talk, and I'm just writing
everything you say.
I can only take maybe 5-7 witnesses in a morning. If you're I can't even do much.
Right.
So in terms of efficiency of time, not very good. But also, even for the magistrates and judges who are writing, you can imagine writing
you get
a whole day.
Carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, a whole day just writing is not easy. But thankfully, there's a conversation around that.
Okay.
In fact, we have a pilot transcription center that we are running as we speak. It's based here in Nairobi, and we have started transcribing courts where we have recordings that are going on.
So like voice to text.
Voice to text, yeah.
Okay.
So the whole idea is in a very short while, we should be able to transition from that, so that now you put your pen down so that you can operate. There are already courts. The Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, they don't write.
Okay.
So we are moving
Gradually.
moving steadily,
Right.
but it's something that we are very concerned about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's a question. We all seem to assume certain things. That you've used these terms today,
Okay.
and we don't know how.
All right.
Which judicial officer sits where? Magistrate, judge, a judge of the High Court, a judge of the Court of Appeal, a judge of the Supreme Court. Who does this? Who goes where? And can me, a journalist, tomorrow become a judge? Must I be a lawyer? Of course, these are now the logistics around this for us to really understand. Okay, so if I'm going to go to court, or if somebody is in court, this is the person who's going to serve them in a particular capacity.
Yeah. Thank you, Ndo, for that question. So the courts, we have these different levels of courts, and the Supreme Court. Typically, we all know the Supreme Court because of the presidential petitions.
Yes.
And it is based in, but it does much more than that. That court it gives advisories on matters to do with the county governments, and also very important, settling very important constitutional matters where there is a dispute or something, where there is a misunderstanding, or people just want an interpretation of what the Constitution says. Ultimately, it is the Supreme Court that will give that determination. And there are a number of matters that have been decided by the Supreme Court. So, based in Nairobi, 7 judges, that's all. Court of Appeal. Or maybe I should have started from down. But anyway, so the Court of Appeal listens to, Court of Appeal now will have 42 judges. They sit in benches of 3 to listen to appeals. It is only appeals, as the name suggests, that have come from the High Court.
Okay, so disputed judgments.
So some that you are not agreed with from the High Court or from the other courts of the equal status of the High Court.
Okay.
So the Employment and Labor Relations Court, or the Environment and Land Court. If there is an appeal you want to make, then it comes to the Court of Appeal. So they sit in 3s and they sit in different locations. We have got 6 different locations across the country. So we have Nairobi, we have Mombasa, we have Kisumu, we have Nyeri, we have Nakuru, we have Eldoret.
Okay.
So those are the locations for the Court of Appeal. Then we have the High Court. High Court is in all across the country. We have our presence in 42 counties where we have actual high courts, but then in 5 counties where we still don't have high courts, we have what we call a sub-registry. So we have a presence there. Somebody can file a case there, and then it can be heard, So you can say we have a presence in 47 counties. So in those places, we have a high court. There we have now high court judges who sit and listen to typically like murder cases and other cases like, commercial disputes, civil disputes between persons, succession matters. Those are done at the high court level. And then I mentioned we have the environment and land court. So the environment and land court is in 40 courts across the country.
Okay.
Then we have the employment and labor relations court. That one we have a presence in 10 counties across the country. Then the magistracy now, which handles the bulk of cases, the magistrates, that one is in 145 stations across the country. So that is where you'd find from, all the way from Maralal to Msambweni, from Loitoktok to Busia. You have a court in each of those places. In fact, just this month we opened 2 new courts in Quisero in western Kenya. So we have 145. Our target is to have 290 because we are required to have in every sub county. We're supposed to have in each one of those. So we are now at halfway. And magistrates courts listen to all manner of cases. What is the determinant is the value. The value of the disputed item, if it is a civil case. And for criminal cases, they listen to virtually all criminal cases except murder cases that has to be dealt with, at the high court. So that is what you have. And of course, to be a magistrate or a judge, you must be a lawyer.
All right.
So a journalist need to go back to school. So that you can be learned.
All the way to KSL.
Go to KSL, get admitted, and then then apply to become a magistrate or a judge.
So here's a question. I've gone to court, right? I've been taken to court, or I find myself in court.
Yes.
But affording lawyers is tough out here. And one would want to say, I don't want to represent myself because I don't know the lingo and everything. So I approach the state and say, I'm unable to represent myself. I do not have a lawyer. I can't afford one. I'm seeking for pro bono services. How does one go through that process?
Good question. So there is an entity actually called the National Legal Aid, and it was created purposely to be able to help with that. But what we have now, because also of the numbers, what the state provides now for people that cannot afford lawyers are for very serious offenses. So that you look at, if someone has been charged, let's say, with the murder, then if you don't have a lawyer, you automatically get a lawyer. And also in children matters, the state also provides a lawyer where there's a child who's involved. But now for the other matters, that's a little difficult because, again, of the issue of resources. But I know as the National Legal Aid body is established and gets properly operationalized, then I'm sure there'll be discussions about to what extent can we go, whom can we support? Because ideally, if someone is not able to afford legal services, then you should be able to get that assistance. But as of
this is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.